Here's what you need to know. Cam Young and Rory McIlroy sitting at 11 under. Sam Burns, 10 under. Shane Lowry, 9 under. And then after that, we got a little bit more of a bulk of the crowd, and Jason Day and Justin Rose at 8 under apiece. And then Scottie Scheffler and Haotong Li at 7 under. Those are your primary, top 8 guys that are going to be in the mix today. Obviously, barring somebody having a huge round today on Masters Sunday. Now, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy, we remember last year was Bryson DeChambeau and Rory. And Cade, you said an interesting point about, how DeChambeau not having necessarily a great round sort of helped Rory's round in a lot of ways. Today, with both these guys at 11 under apiece having wildly different rounds yesterday, Rory shooting a 73 and Cam Young shooting a 65, it's going to be important that you get a similar punch from either of them heading into this final round. You agree?
Correct. You need them pushing each other. You can't have one choking and then the other kind of cruising. One, because that's just not good golf, and we want to see good golf today. And two, the rest of the field's going to catch up to you. There is pressure not just from the two in the final pairing, but from the rest of this field as well because it's so stacked. Last year, Rory had a 2-shot lead going into the final round with just Bryson. Bryson chokes. Now, Rory doubles the first hole and ties it up at the first hole, but that didn't really necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things. Bryson chokes. Rory cruises. Rory ends up shooting a bad round in his standards. Justin Rose comes back, and we have the playoff. That one was a tough round because while Justin's comeback was great, we didn't love seeing bad golf in the final round. We want to see great golf. We want to see these guys birdie the par 5 second. We want to see one of them birdie the par 4 third. We want to see one of these guys attack the par 3-6 like Shane Lowry did with his hole-in-one yesterday. We're going to see guys try to go for this par 5 8th. We want birdies in the front 9. That way, scoring has to happen in the second 9.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because they're going to play it out like they're almost feeling each other out. You know what I mean? Who's going to make the first mistake? I think that's going to be your theme, especially with those two, is, all right, who's going to be that guy who's going to, bogey 1 or 2 or bogey 3 or something like that? Who's going to be the guy? It's not going to be me, and they're just, that's the way they're going to play. And then once that first scoring moment happens, for better or worse, that's when I think everything else opens up. As for everybody else, so let's play this out, Cade. Last 4 holes, we're talking about later today, 6 o'clock. And you could have 4 guys of these top, 10 or 12 be firmly in the mix within a stroke or 2 of the lead. Who is the 4 you would like to have right there?
Besides those in the final group. Or including those?
Including those.
Okay, so I want I want Young and McIlroy to be there. I want a final pairing where these guys are going for each other's throats.
So add 2 to that.
At the end. I want to see... Oh, that's tough. Okay, I want to see Justin Rose there because I think he's the one guy who can
talk about somebody who's due
at the end.
Talk about somebody who's due, and he's not unafraid.
And then selfishly, I do want to see Jason Day there. The other one is Shane Lowry because he's another guy who can score at will. He's another guy who's due at the Masters. He's the only guy in Masters history with 2 hole-in-ones in his career. But Jason Day has been one of those silent warriors of golf. He's playing in his 15th straight Masters without a win. And he was one of those guys where, again, like Rory McIlroy, kind of had his heyday in the early 2010s and then really has been quiet since then. And now he's playing some of his best golf. He had this complete wardrobe change where he's now doing the visor and baggy pants gear, and he's playing great golf. Jason Day is one of those guys where you just love him as a person, you love him as a player. I would love to see him in the mix here today.
Haotong Li, I'd love to see. I just want to see that post-match.
He's so fun.
So funny. So funny. And he had he had stomach issues all day yesterday, which is part of the reason why, I believe that was the case. So that was not good for him. And
they went in the water twice yesterday on 13 and 15.
That was a survival of a round. So maybe he could learn to attack this a little bit and see what happens. But, selfishly, you'd like to see Scheffler there. But to be honest with you, I don't think Scheffler deserves it. I know he had a great round yesterday, but, 74 round 2, I don't necessarily need to see him there. If there's guys that are going to be playing well in high leverage spots, I'm cool with that. I like having one defending champion and a bunch of wolves trying to get their chance at it. So Cam Young, absolutely, that guy is Captain America. I actually agree with the Justin Rose shout. Now, I'm not as high on Jason Day as you are. Give me Haotong Li there. You kidding me? Give me Haotong.
Yeah.
Hao Tong Lee, Justin Rose, Cam Young, and Rory McIlroy. That's what we need. That is what we need.
But I think you're right with the number of players you'd like to see there. You want to see 4 guys.
4. Nothing
attacking.
more. More is maybe too much. But 4 would be great. 4 would be great.
What do you think the last great Masters Sunday besides last year was? Maybe 2019 would be the last great Masters
I'd have to go
Sunday.
through every single one. The most memorable one is by far 2019.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I can tell you that real quick. So 2024, Scheffler again, runaway.
Yep.
John Rahm, I think, wasn't a runaway, but I think he won by at least 2 or 3 shots there at the end, or at least came into the last hole with a 1 or 2 shot lead. And then 2023, Scheffler again. 2022, I believe, was the Matsuyama year.
Yep.
Or no. 2023, Rahm. 2022, Scheffler again. That was a runaway. That was like a 6-shot lead heading into the second 9. Then 2021 was Matsuyama. 2020 was the November Masters with DJ. That's the best scoring round at the Masters ever because you played in the fall instead of the spring.
Didn't feel normal.
And then you had 2019. I think 2019 has been the best Masters, especially on the best Masters Sunday, since what could be today. In that particular Masters, 2019, I believe there were 3 people tied for second: Cantley, Molinari, and Koepka, or DJ, one of the 2. But you had 4 guys at least, maybe 5 or 6, were attacking Tiger that day.
Yeah.
And that was an insane Masters Sunday. And it was an earlier Masters Sunday because there was rain coming in the evening, so they bumped it up to a 9 o'clock tee time. And so you had to watch it in the morning. But that Masters Sunday was so intense because not only did you have scoring with Tiger birdieing the 16th, and I think he also birdied the 15th, but you had also chokes. Cantley came in, shot 8 under the last day or something ridiculous. Koepka was right there at the end. So many guys that Masters Sunday. You could see a very, very similar thing today where you see the scoring, you see the choking, and a 3-way tie for second could be very well in play today.
Another memorable one was the Danny Willett year with Spieth going into Masters Sunday with the quadruple bogey on 12. That was a famous one. I remember that one. I remember like it was yesterday. You know what I mean? That second 9 had just basically the moment got too big.
2016, I believe.
2016, it was the year because he won in 2015.
2017, you had the Sergio year.
Another
playoff with Justin Rose.
That's right.
We've had some big ones.
Yeah, and Rose is always in the mix here. That's fun. They were showing it during the broadcast yesterday. Basically showing how many top 5 finishes that Rose has basically every single time he comes out here.
Well, and the thing is too, they also put the runner-up's name on the trophy. They put the winner and the runner-up, and his name is on there 3 different times in the runner-up slot.
Talk about somebody who's due. I mean, geez, there's got to be a year where he breaks through. But especially for playing this well at this age for Justin Rose. So if I were to draw up, a 4 group that I could have there, to finish off this Masters Sunday, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy. I love Hao Tong Lee, so I'm rooting for him. And then I think Justin Rose. I think Justin Rose is an excellent Masters player. I think he's due. I don't think anybody would be pissed if he won. If he comes out and wins this, I don't think anybody would be upset. This is somebody who's definitely earned it.
Another image that I can see today that I would love to see is either Sam Burns or Shane Lowry birdieing 18 to tie or take the lead, because then you have McIlroy and Young in the fairway watching that happen.
Right.
That would be great if you had the second to last group have a run on 18 when all of the
let's play that.
Patriots
Let's say they're 12 under. Rory and Cam Young are both 12 under, something like that, and Sam Burns had 11 under, birdies 18 or something like that to just stay in the mix, and know that somebody's gonna have to score on the hole.
Correct.
If they wanted to win, that'd be great. I agree with that. Thoroughly agree. But anybody outside the top 12 that you can see make a sneaky run?
Patrick Cantley. I mean, you think about where he's been. 77 on the first day. Yeah. He's come back with 67, 66, and he's in the top 10.
Such a strange player.
And this man can score on Sundays. So Cantley making an insane run would be awesome. And then obviously you have some of the other big names, Schauffele, Brooks Koepka. There's a slew of guys at 4 under. Where do you think the cutoff is of guys who are legitimately in this race?
I don't think guys at 4 under can do it.
I don't think guys at 6 under can do it. I think someone in the top 4 is shooting.
Yeah, I don't love the guys at 6 under. I don't think Russell Henley's not shooting a 66 again. You know what I mean?
No, I think Cantley can. That's why I brought him up. But I completely agree. Patrick Reed is done. He blew up yesterday.
Yeah.
He can go low, but he won't go.
Morikawa has quietly played very well at 5 under, but again, You need a 65-66 if you want to be in the mix today. You need a 65-66.
And there's only been 3 of them all week, and it's been from the biggest guys.
Yeah, it's been from Cam Young, Scheffler, and Rory. So I don't know what to tell you. So if you're asking me if I think there's anybody outside the top 7 that could shoot a 65 today, the answer is probably no. The answer is probably
yeah. You're right. I think Haotong Li, Scottie Scheffler, that grouping that tees off at I believe 152.
Yeah, the top 8 I think is set.
Yep. Your winner's coming from there.
Unless we have a lot of unless this course eats a lot of people up, and people are bogeying left and right, really collapsing, and you get 3-4 guys. All of a sudden, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy, Sam Burns don't have great starts, and all of a sudden everybody's 8 under. Then we could have a conversation. But until that point, if this is going to hang around that 10, 11, 12 mark for the most part, you can't expect the Patrick Cantleys of the world to have the 65 after shooting a 66 yesterday.
I think your winner today is shooting a final score of 14 under. I think one of those guys can shoot 69 at the top, and I think Shane Lowry can.
That's your number today, 14?
14. I think someone's got to get to 14 today, which means Scottie Scheffler has to shoot another 65.
Which is doable. You can't tell me that's not possible.
Exactly. I think 14 under is your number today. That's a 5 under 67 from Shane Lowry, who shot 68 yesterday.
The prospect of Scheffler can get people nervous, too. If he and
and
he tees off full 30 minutes before these guys get started. If Scottie Scheffler birdies his first 2, then everybody's gonna get a little nervous.
100%.
Scottie on the final day.
100%.
Guys won this twice. So just hearing that, I think I'm not gonna say like he doesn't strike fear into his opponents, but him being there makes people under the impression we can't screw up. Margin of error just got a lot slimmer if Scottie's around.